Nothing. It's not. It is totally characteristic of this environment. Post game, he makes me. Not really. I don't mind. I have something to talk about right now. What do you guys want to talk about? I'd rather talk about your topics. The weather? Thanks, man. That's.
All right, everybody ready?
You want to talk about the weather?
Not really, no.
I heard potential snow tonight. Potential snow tonight.
I mean, allegedly, but we'll see if it actually happens.
Never happens. Never happens. It always disappoints. And thunderstorms. Threat of thunderstorm. No. Not here. But anyway. Are we going to start right here?
Yeah, sure.
Sox. Go Sox.
Yeah. What's on your mind basketball-wise this week?
That's kind of spinning it at me, isn't it? You just forced me into an opening statement. Well, we have two good teams coming into Gill Coliseum, and we need to find ways to win both games. Neither will be easy, of course.
How did the trip to Stockton go? You know, what did you take away from that, especially getting back in the win column? How do you feel like the team responded after a tough 3-game stretch there?
Yeah. It was fascinating, actually. I mean, we've been on a crazy roller coaster, for the last couple weeks. I mean, we've looked like ourselves, and then we absolutely have not, and it's been a mystery a little bit as to why. And so for a coach, you're just like, okay, the season's long. It has ebbs and flows, ups and downs. We're seeing teams for the second time in some cases, and you're going to see a different scout potentially, and the mental side of things, the tricks that can be played on your brain and your opponent's brain in those environments, are what makes sports fun, I guess, and make it a challenge at the same time. Who are we in those environments? Who are we when we're on top of everything, as the favorite, the true favorite? And then who are we when we're not? Who are we when we get, into a really physical battle in a game that's really physical, and who are we when it's not? And, so all those things we're still learning, I guess. And so the Pacific game was kind of a microcosm of all of that. It was, us at our best at times, and then us at our absolute worst at times. And, your opponent factors into it, of course, so there's credit to be given on the other side of the equation. But our response has, in some cases, taken too long. It's like we're looking around. And in that second quarter at Pacific, a place where we got beat twice last year, just weird place for us to play, it seems. And, that second quarter was like the Gonzaga game in the second half of Santa Clara, where everybody's looking around for somebody else to do something and nobody's doing anything. And then next thing you know, you're down double figures and it's slipping away from you. And so fortunately we had halftime, to kind of regroup, came out, adjusted our lineup for that game, and played like we were excited to be there and ready for a fight. And that was beautiful, so the second half was just the team that we need to be, if we want to reach our potential down the stretch of this year. So I thought it was kind of a healthy experience, considering everything, and a sign of good things going forward.
How important is that messaging of that fight kind of in the second half, heading into this game against Portland, where it felt like the last time that was one of those games where it just kind of slipped away at the end and could have been a win on the docket, and instead it turned into a loss?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like one of those games that we were just kind of in control of, even though it was close the whole time. It just felt like this is our night, our game, and, give them a ton of credit. I mean, they outplayed us, the last 4 minutes, especially last 5 minutes, scored 6 of their last 7 possessions and hit big shots and got the stops that they needed to close us out, and which you would expect. I mean, that's what you kind of know a good team like them is going to do, and you're going to have to overcome that to win the game. So I think being reminded of that, like you said, against Pacific, and how hard it is and how physical you have to be and how aggressive everybody needs to be as a scorer, how you really need to compete on the boards and you need to adapt to the game. I thought we did a really nice job of that against Pacific, Kira and Lara played huge minutes for us in that game. Katie played huge minutes for us. So the freshmen getting that experience on the road, again, like they did at Pepperdine, by the way. It was just another really good example of adapting and people rising, which good teams have. It's not going to be everybody's night. And so other people are going to have to step up to find ways. Well, as you approach Portland, who knows exactly what their game plan is going to be. And so I think as conference has gone on, it's been interesting to see different game plans, different styles, taking away this, taking away that, giving us this, giving us that. This team has learned kind of where to go and that we can operate and find effective ways to compete no matter what the opponent throws at us. And so, maybe there's some things we still haven't seen, but it feels like we've seen kind of everything now. And so we just, I think, understand it's going to be a real fight for 40 minutes or more, and we better be ready for it.
How important is that adapting, especially for some of the younger girls on this team, still learning, considering that where you guys are right now in the standings and kind of what it would mean to get to the NCAA tournament means winning the WCC tournament? How important is it for them to learn and get these crucial minutes, understanding that in just a couple of weeks, it's going to be do or die in the WCC tournament where you guys want to keep your season alive. You got to keep winning.
Mm-hmm. Vital. I think it's vital that everybody understands exactly what it takes at this point. I don't think there's freshmen anymore. I just, there's first-time experiences, I guess, but the reality is it's just basketball between the lines, no matter the environment. I think it's great that we've played at Gonzaga. That's obviously the toughest environment. The crowd, it was neat to play at Portland in front of, both of our fans. That was a fun environment. And, so we really don't have anything like that ahead of us. So I think that's behind. We've experienced it, So now it's just stepping up and understanding you have to play big in every moment and you got to play towards your potential. And there's no place for self-doubt. There's no place for passivity or hesitation. It is attack mode. You take what you want. And we've said the right things from day one. We've done the right things most of the time, but there have been times where we've sat back and just hoped, maybe thought the opponent would go away. They ain't going away. They want what you have, what you want, and you can't be in a situation where they want it more than you. So we've talked about those things repeatedly through the year. Now the team, I thought the team just took over at Pepperdine. There was no motivation coming from the coaches, only instruction in that second half and just help and guidance. It was all them. So I think from this point forward, it has to be all them imposing their will on what they want.
You guys have the damn cancer game this week, and with that comes the post-game haircut tradition. I'm curious, what's kind of been the origin of that, and what's made that such a special thing for the program?
Yeah, well, it's special to women's basketball, of course. That's the cause that the K-Yow Foundation put together years ago, and at all levels of women's basketball, we've supported cancer awareness, in particular breast cancer awareness, and so it's been a privilege to partner with the local, foundations to support in every way. And of course, there's a financial piece to it that is key, but awareness is such a big part of it. And then just showing that we care, has been, and making it a big deal has been a big part of it. Being a part of local events beyond, our game as well has been a part of our program over the years. And so in 2016 is how I remember it, Ruth Hamblin, came up with the idea. She wanted to donate her hair that day. And I was just like, whoa. I mean, how cool is that? And I believe she was the first one. And then since then, Sid did it, and then my daughter, Kate, did it one year. And we've had somebody most years, and we've opened it up for the community to participate as well, of course, out during the 8-minute mingle. So it's just been, one more special part, of our season and our year that we look forward to, and impact. It's bigger than basketball. How big of an impact can we have? And this is one very special way.
We're going to get to talk to her in a second, but I remember, dating back to the off season, kind of your first thoughts on Katie coming in as a freshman was like your corner shooter, your 3-point specialist, and watching that Portland game, I think she had 7 boards in like the first quarter or something ridiculous like that. What's it been like seeing her, really develop in this offense and, find footing, especially, and get more minutes as the season's gone on?
Well, it's been fun, for sure. For a coach, you just hope, people see their potential that you see, and then you just try to, do the dance with them as they go, and as their confidence goes, and as their, understanding goes, then you're trying to push the right buttons and put them in position to accentuate what they're doing, and then you build upon it, and so we knew Katie was a great catch and shoot player coming in. I didn't know her aggressiveness off the bounce, I'll be honest. I didn't know her game at that level to understand her true feel for the game and how quickly she would adapt to our schemes and college basketball. But day one, it was evident. Her shot fake, her first step, her explosiveness to the rim was there. What she did after that was not there yet. Her understanding of, okay, I'm able to get to the backboard, I'm able to get to the rim, or I need to stop and shoot, or I need to see the defense and kick, because I just drew defenders to me. That has been a learning curve for her, but I think everybody who's in our program and has watched her would say she is a sponge. She picks up things so quickly and adapts so quickly, and if she's not doing something, it's only because she hasn't learned it yet or hasn't needed it yet. I've learned that I can put her in any situation, and her ability to compete at that level with a clear head is there. She's certainly not perfect. She's got a lot to learn, but I know that I can put her out there, and she's going to give everything she has in a clear way. Nothing's in the way of that. She just loves to compete and believes in herself. That's very healthy and normal. And for an international player, beautiful to watch, So now we see a mid-range game developing, that wasn't there before, because she hadn't needed it, and a lot of people coach around it. It's like threes or layups, right? Dunks or threes, and so no mid-range, but here you have to have it. At the highest level, you have to have it, and so she's adapted that. Stopping even in a jump stop when she takes it off the bounce, seeing the defense, and then she finishes very well at the rim. And so defensively, she's long and quick and understands angles, and now she's understanding how physical this is, and she's adapting to the physicality of college basketball. And so very encouraged by her progress, and it's been fun every day helping her figure it all out.
With how packed in the standings are right now, Scott, do you, like you said, there aren't freshmen anymore, and you don't have a particularly young team. Do you want them paying attention to what the stakes are on a given night? You can't literally scoreboard watch because you're all playing at the same time, but as soon as the game's over, particularly on tomorrow, where as it's drawn up, this is sport, but holding pace is probably the objective versus not falling to fifth. Do you want them thinking in those terms when there's 3 and 4 games left in the season of what the stakes are on a given night?
I think honesty is best, and I think reality is best. And I don't think there's a time with adults anyway to veer around it, pretend, minimize it, or even emphasize it. I just think it is what it is. So we don't shy away from those things. It's like we have an opportunity in our game Thursday night to separate from them and put them 2 games behind us. They have an opportunity to tie us in the standings with a tiebreaker and earn the tiebreak. So that is what it is. That's what we're playing for in that game. And so I think everybody's aware of that. That type of thing is said in the locker room. It's like, this is our opportunity tonight. Let's go take care of business. I'm sure they would obviously say the exact same thing. And so I just think we look at the standings each week, most every week, and we talk about the opportunity ahead that we have.
I realize you kind of have to be where your feet are, obviously, but as conversations about the future always come up before, instantaneously. So when the Pac-12 is announcing things and setting things up for schedules in the future, are there coaching meetings taking place now, or are those things that are April, May, to set up for conversations about conference scheduling or scheduling philosophies or things like that for the future conference, or is that a March or April conversation, or are those conversations already happening now?
Yeah, I remember having one meeting last summer. I can't remember the exact date of it. But I remember it being those of us, moving into the new Pac-12 or being a part of it, were invited to be a part of a call. It was very general. We weren't voting on anything, or it was just more informative. Here's a heads up on the things that we can tell you at this moment, which I appreciated. There has not been a coach's call or a meeting, and there's not one scheduled that I'm aware of to this point. I think in our sport, our senior women's administrator and ours are separate. Like my sports supervisor is different than our senior women's administrator. And so I think I would assume they're, being communicated with. I have confidence in Teresa and Rhonda at the Pac-12 office. I mean, I've worked with them, even more than I've worked with our people, over the years because they've been a part of things so much. And so I think, I know that we're in good hands with their leadership. And so I'm anxious to learn and more than willing, to talk if anybody wants to hear my thoughts, from that side of things anyway. But I don't have a lot of information.
Talking about the freshmen that have stepped up and are no longer freshmen, as you say, could you talk about Lara and how she's developed in that dual 4-5 role and all the different responsibilities that she takes on, and your willingness to play her in really meaningful minutes at the end of games?
Well, I love her instincts. I mean, she's just a basketball player. She plays without limits of effort. And, we saw that to start. We started at the beginning of the third quarter. She gets 2 O boards in the first couple minutes of that third quarter at Pacific the other day. And those are 2 huge plays that, give us momentum as we come back into that game. She's a scorer. She's so comfortable back to the basket. There are times and situations where I don't think it's a great matchup for her at the 4, which has limited her opportunities there, just because if the other 4 is a guard, that's just not her comfort zone yet. She identifies, thinks, and has a history of repetition at a post position. But I haven't run into a center matchup yet where I'm not comfortable with her out there that I can remember. I just love her at the 5, and she's so comfortable there, and you could just see that she's excited about it, relaxes, and then just plays super aggressive for us. She's adapting, even the other day in the game we were talking about just defensive positioning, as the game went on through timeouts, and she was learning and adapting as she went, in that game. And so I really think sky's the limit for Lara. Her ability to shoot the 3, there's still parts of her game that aren't there yet. She's not taking people off the dribble very often. There's things like that. But man, what she brings, she has so many key intangibles. And now that she understands all of our stuff better, it's honestly hard to keep her off the floor.
Anybody else? All right. Thanks.
All right, thanks everybody. Be safe out there.
We're gonna try. All right, back to you. We gotta be safe, so.
Next. Hey. Thanks, Andy.
You bet.
Let's go push these. Cameras, you good? Yeah. All right. Okay, amazing.
So, Katie, you got to hear your coach gush about you. I'm curious what it's been like from your side of things, just kind of the past couple of weeks and your experience here thus far.
It's been really good for the past couple of weeks. I think it's been good opportunities for me to give what I can for my team and do my best just to help our team. If we get the win or if we don't get the win, just help them in any way possible.
Do you have a favorite moment thus far of your Oregon State career?
Oh, there's many. I don't think I can narrow it down to one, but I've just been really enjoying getting on the court, knocking down threes, yeah.
And for Jenna, you've obviously been a freshman in college basketball and a newcomer in places. I'm curious, what's it been like seeing this freshman group of Katie, Kira, and Lara really come into their own over the past couple weeks?
Yeah, it's definitely been really special. It's cool to see a freshman group so close. I mean, they're always doing everything together, and I think that honestly helps them settle on the court when they're all playing together. But yeah, they've been doing some really great things and stepping up in big moments for us, and it's just been huge, and just being able to count on them.
Katie, Coach talked about how this group of freshmen are no longer freshmen. I'm just wondering, how have you kind of maybe seen yourself maybe transition from someone that was maybe just trying to learn out of the gates, maybe a little bit skittish, to someone that feels confident and feels like they have the ability to score and help their teammates whenever you get on the court?
I mean, every day I'm still trying to learn, like how Coach Cott said. I try to be a sponge, just absorb every piece of information that I can, but it's just been really good to continue to develop my game since being here.
Have you felt more confident with each passing week, and can you kind of explain about what that's felt like for you on the court as you have felt more confident?
Yeah, definitely. Each week I think I've got more confident, and definitely playing more minutes has helped me gain more confidence on the court as well, and it's just been really good.
Where does that kind of sensation of being a sponge come from? Was that from parenting? Was that just something you always had? Where did that kind of skill come from, you to just soak in information and learn from it on the fly?
I think it's just like my parents taught me that from a young age, always be willing to learn, and ever since they taught me that from a young age, I've just tried to take it with me everywhere I go.
Jenna, obviously for this team, is one of the veterans, one of the leaders now, within this program. Just with understanding what's at stake through the rest of the end of the season, 4 games left, understanding where seeding could place you guys in the WCC tournament, what are those conversations that you as one of the leaders are having with this team, and understanding how important each game is down the stretch, knowing that a higher seeding could potentially lead to an easier path to winning the WCC tournament and getting to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's definitely something that we talk about. I think that, playing 3 games in 3 days isn't like the worst possible scenario, but obviously playing 2 games in 2 days would be a much better path for us. But I think just taking every game by game and just trying to figure out who we are as a group, and then take all of that into the WCC tournament rather than focusing on seeding. It is a conversation that we have, but I think just focusing on winning, focusing on getting back on the right track, and just taking that into the tournament.
It's obviously a fairly quick turnaround with the 2 Portland games. You didn't play them until quite late, and then you can turn around and play them again. Is that helpful? You keep like the lessons of that game fresh, and maybe even some of the disappointment of that game fresh as you're getting ready to host them tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think it's good. Definitely playing teams the second time, you just you learn them and you understand what you're gonna see. You just know what to expect, and I think taking that loss is definitely gonna fuel our fire for the game. We're definitely all just ready to kill them. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Jenna. I think we've learnt them from the first game, and we're just ready to kill them pretty much. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, Jenna, where does that kind of rivalry come from you with Portland? In fact, you say you want to go out there and kill them. That has to come from some sort of place inside. So where does it come from?
Honestly, I think it just comes from my teammates here at Oregon State. I've never personally had a rivalry with Portland, but I just know that I know what the game means to my teammates, especially my Oregon teammates, and so just being able to win the game for them, I think that's what all of us are thinking about.
Katie, I know we're kind of beating a dead horse with your Australian thing, but I'm curious, what is really the biggest transition for someone being a college freshman moving here? Is there anything that really sticks out in your mind that has surprised you or is so vastly different from Australia?
I think basketball-wise, mostly just the physicality and getting used to that. And because I've been here for a while now, I think that I've grown with the physicality, and I'm just getting better and better at it each day. And other than that, it's just being a student as well. Yeah, coming out of high school and now being in college is definitely a jump, but I've been really enjoying it.
Do the toilets actually flush the other way, or is this a myth?
Yes, they actually do.
That's crazy.
Jenna, I'm just curious, from just purely players' perspective, because there are things out there analytically that part of our job to pay attention to, and it's part of a coach's job to pay attention to. Do you, as a player, pay attention to your net resume? Do you have any idea when we talk about quadrant 4, what that even means?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Everybody good? Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Go Beavs.